Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County.
Hold
Good
on, we're not
morning
on the
to
air yet. We got problems.
Okay. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you fine, but the transmitter's not hearing you.
Oh, okay. Let me know when.
Stand by. Just stand by. Okay, now you do your intro.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to every nook and corner receiving the signal from our 100,000 watt transmitter, every nook and cranny of Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana. Over the internet, of course, we're all over the world, folks. We are all over the world, and we have listeners every day from all over the world. So whenever you talk on Politics Done Right, folks, you get listeners all over. But before we get started, folks, we need to go to a special place. That place where reigns our two geniuses, what we call the KPFT posse. Buenos días, señores. ¿Cómo están?
Oh, Lord. I'll tell you what. It was an interesting, rough start for those who may have heard that. And for those who didn't, we had a little problem with our transmitter and automation system this morning, just before Politics Done Right came on. So I went down and gave it a little lesson, and now it's running fine. The tin cans and string are holding up. Egberto, I have a rant today.
I want you to rant, my brother. The platform is yours.
I have a rant. Today is election day. Not necessarily election day, but it is primary day where we are all going to go out and vote. Everyone needs to go vote. I brought my voter registration card just to make sure that I can vote. Now, the fact of the matter is, Trump's going to carry Texas. I mean, that's a given. Because there's too many MAGA bellies that are going to go out and vote for him and say, oh, our boy, our boy, our boy. But wake up, people. This man has more legal problems than anyone will ever face in their entire life. And he created them. It's not fake news. It's not witch hunt. He created them. Stop and think for a moment. When you get to that booth, do you really want someone like this operating the country? Are you going to hand the keys of the United States over to a man like this who is facing so many fraud charges that it's unbelievable? I just ask you to stop and think for a moment. Do you really want this? Actually, I'm going to vote against. I'm so tired of using my vote to vote against things. And where are the people who are decent, with integrity? Where are they? Before you vote, think. Think before you vote. That's all I ask. So there's my rant.
I mean, that's a beautiful rant. Before we get to Jack, I just want to address that. And I want to personalize you. I hope you don't mind this, Howard. But you were a Republican beforehand, and I've known you now for years, and I never asked political affiliation. I never asked ideology. We just interacted as friends that work together, always had 100% respect for you, etc., etc., etc. Why am I saying this, right? We have made this political party thing a factionalized stuff, which it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I from knowing Howard, there are certain conservative ways of his being that I could always detect and see, and I know he could always see my pinko liberal way of being, right? But
we respect each other.
Yeah, but that is such a small look, except for the wild things. Look, we have allowed others to really put breaks between us for angst between us for several things, right? And when
Yes.
we allow this to occur, they win. Neither Howard or me or Jack or you wins. They win because the only
Nobody
way,
wins.
right, the only way that few can take advantage of us all, or when I say it's not that they want to take advantage of us. Nobody really want to take advantage of us. They just want to profit from us not getting a piece of the pie, if you will. And that is what we've got to fight against. And for a long time, Howard, I was a member of the board of the Coffee Party, and we are a transpartisan organization. We don't call ourselves bipartisan because it's not just two parties or two ideologies. Our entire goal was to get people sitting at that table drinking a cup of coffee and talking. And when you do that, when we would, there were about 12 of us. We'd lock ourselves up, just like we did with Move to Amend, lock ourselves up in a room for 4 days, and we'll just hammer things out and talk and come out with plans on how we're going to approach talking to people, to not trying to change their ideology or not trying to change their party, but how to get the best out of each group. And we'll spend time doing, and it is something that is possible, right? It is actually
Yes, it is.
possible. But there's so many forces on the outside trying to stop that, because once that occurs and people see their commonality, it is a problem. Okay, now that is my soapbox off of your soapbox. Let's go to our good word from our brother Jack.
Yes. We can go on for a long time about this, but Jack has a lot of wisdom here, and we need some of it today.
Well, unfortunately it's on the same topic. with the little comical end here. Okay. Poor, innocent, persecuted Donald Trump seduces the people with their own prejudices, then plays daddy to them with promises that he is going to protect you from those evil, immigrating, gay, lesbian, transgender, Chinese, Russian, lefty, Democratic cartoon characters.
Whoa. Daddy Trump? Don't mind if I toss my coffee here, man.
Hey, I'm glad I didn't have mine in my hand at the time he was talking,
Yeah, well, the coffee would have ended up all over your computer screen, and we might have more technical difficulties.
I know. But look, folks that are out there listening, thank you guys. We love your ears, and we appreciate you. And if there's anything you want to talk on, this wasn't our particularly subject, but as usual, our geniuses in the studio always come start something off and then just let it happen. Love these guys. Love you guys. You can call at any time, folks. 713-526-5738 if you want to talk about this stuff. I got a couple of videos that I want to show. They're short ones this time. And but we have quite a bit to talk about. 713-526-5738. Hit extension 2 to get on air immediately. Before I get started, though, I just want to talk a little bit about the fund drive. I don't know if you all can understand how appreciative we are that we made our quota, the goal that we had to raise the money. We made it, and we actually exceeded it by a little bit, not by a much, but we exceeded it. And I just want to thank you. It makes you know that folks really want and ensure that we're doing what we're doing. It is so important what you did to support the program. Of course, we're going to be coming back to you in May sometime. We hope that we can shorten it as the time goes on. People continue to support. You can always go to kpft.org and continue to support. And don't forget to put Politics Done Right as a show you're calling and supporting for. But the more we get off our fund drive, the more we don't have to have the fund drive at length. So just want you to know that. But anyhow, today's subject is titled "The Cult of Trump Called Me." And I have a short from our 3:00 show. I have an interaction with a guy that is a constant He listens to the show every single day. And he calls into the show sometimes on my 3 o'clock show I'm talking about. I want you to hear this conversation. So after I speak to Colby and John, I'm going to let you hear this conversation. So let's go to Colby and then we'll move to John. Good morning, Colby. How art thou doing, my brother?
Good morning, Egberto. You can imagine I am a mixture of emotions today.
Yes, I know. How was it yesterday at Nikki Haley, my brother?
I got there just in time. I did catch her speech. I have to admit that she gave a very good speech, and I really liked that she opened with throwing the Republican Party under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Nikki Haley is a very smart woman and a hell of a politician, and that makes and let me tell you. While all of us are fixated on Trump, as my brother Joe gives me a hard time for talking too much about Trump, I think she's just there waiting in the wings. That's what I think she's doing.
Yeah, she did highlight that the Republican Party is very far from conservative these days. She talked about how they actually managed to spend more, or they managed to add more to our spending during COVID than the Democratic Party did. Mm-hmm. And, things like that. And then just every time she badmouthed Trump, the room, just clapped and hooted and hollered. Of course, there were some people with their trucks and their flags putting their mental health issues on full display for everyone
to see. Okay. That's a good one, Colby. That's a good one. You're a terrible person. Anyway, but I think look, she's a good politician. I just wish she would be more consistent in the kind of policies that she look for, because we do need young people. And look, I used to tell folks in the coffee party. Actually, it wasn't a coffee party. I did this with Living Room Conversations. I don't know how many of you participate in Living Room Conversations. It's a great organization, right? And I used to say all the time, one of the ladies asked me one time, why do I engage these folks? And I'm like, we need the pushback, guys. When we're doing our thing, whoever progressives that is, when we're doing our thing, you have to have that stress test, to make sure that you're doing things. And I think she makes that, because she can articulate and because she can think, it's good to have her as an opposing backstop. But my God, she doesn't even get a chance with Trump the way he is now,
Well, it's a little bittersweet about Trump just being as dominant as he is, because, he's just a horrible human being. But as a candidate, he's terrible. I felt that if Nikki Haley somehow got the nomination, then she would really give the Democratic Party a run for their money, because she gives off responsible adult vibes.
Actually, she would win. I'll just tell it straight out. She would win. If it's a Biden Haley run, she wins.
Yeah,
I just say that.
Yeah, but Colt 45 is still dominating. So
I know,
willing to go to that extreme, and I hope that they make their bed and they lie in it. I hope the whole party kind of goes down with them.
Yeah, well, Colby, I want a new Republican Party, Colby. I want a new Republican Party because I want a lot of parties, but a one party or two. A one party thing is terrible, because what it means is those who head the party, they do a natural thing. And that is, even within the Democratic Party, you see that, right? You have a faction within the Democratic Party that thinks they own the party and they kind of steam out everybody else, right? So, we have to have this multi-party kind of a thing, where people really are forced to listen to all voices.
No, right. And, I didn't go to this thing because I'm supporting Nikki Haley by any means. This was a research trip. I wanted to learn how to. I wanted to listen. Yeah, I wanted
know
to
who you are.
learn how to talk to the real conservatives, the ones who actually want the government to rein in spending and all that stuff, the things that Republicans used to stand for. Mostly political moves.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you very much for calling in, Colby. And by the way, thank you for the stuff that you do, folks. Colby is a good activist out there. And I'm going to just sell him out. And he's a Democrat who decided to go check out what Nikki Haley was doing and had some fun doing it. Thank you, my brother.
Yes, it did. All right.
Have a good one, bro. Let's go to John. Come on in, John.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It seems inevitable that Trump is going to be the nominee, right, for the Republicans, unless he's in jail. But all the stuff is up in the air. But don't you think the Democrats have to, have an open primary and get Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama or somebody in there to actually be able to beat them without question?
If it were a different time, I would have to say yes, right? But I am not. For me right now, it's not about the wish list, John. It's about how do you get it done. It's the same feeling I have about third parties, right? And I don't even know why we call them third parties. We just should call them other parties. I want other parties because I am. Let me tell you bluntly, I caucus with personally, taking my host hat off, I caucus with the Democratic Party. But really, I'm a super progressive guy and the Democratic Party isn't. Okay. But it's the only place where I can exist. All right. There is a party that supports the policies that I think most Americans want. And the only place that we can do that right now is within the Democratic Party. Now, saying with what you have to say, I would agree wholeheartedly if it wasn't March. But if you can tell me the mechanics of how that is done in March, you would have somebody on board with you when I'm not a host of a show. I would be on board.
Well, like a Lyndon Johnson just dropped out in March. Lyndon Johnson dropped out in March 58. And then Bobby Kennedy came in, and Eugene McCarthy was there. So it's maybe similar to that. And what do you think about Bobby Kennedy Jr.?
Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. You kind of coming in muzzled.
Yeah, what do you think of Bobby Kennedy Jr.?
Oh, honestly, I don't know too much about. I know about the Kennedy that's running. What's his name? I don't particularly. The problem with Kennedy. The Kennedy that's running, is that Bobby? Is his first name? Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
Robert. Sorry, brain freeze. I'm sorry. Let me tell you, anytime somebody gives, have any kind of an inkling to be non-scientific with me, it puts a dirty taste in my mouth. And his previous anti-vax issues, right, kind of made me suspect why I never, ever even considered him at all. Now, when it comes to, believe it or not, you know who Marianne Williamson is? She's running as well. And I mean, she is just as smart as Nikki Haley, and her policies are very progressive policies, etc., what she supports. I interviewed her twice. I like Marianne Williamson. Okay. But like I told her in private, come on, tell me how is that going to work?
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. Listen, man, brother, it's if the Democrats don't have a Gavin or a Michelle Obama, Trump could win because Trump Biden is declining geometrically.
Yeah. Let me just tell you what I think, okay? I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I'm going to go to my video, my friend, and I appreciate your call. But let me tell you what I think. Believe it or not, I think things, and call me a wishful thinker. I think we are building what is ultimately, if we get smart tacticians out there, I think the playing field is ready for a complete democratic wipeout. And it's not because the Democratic Party is all that good, but because the current Republican Party is all that bad. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you take the issues that's going to be on the table, right? Women's rights, when you talk about it being abortion, and now the biggest one that people don't see the power in it yet, IVF, meaning the women artificial insemination thing, and then. Oh man, I cannot hardly understand you, John. I don't know. It must be your cell phone. But there are all these issues that have big constituencies, right? That once people see what's going on, I think it's going to explode, right? And I think it's, nobody's going to do much about it right now because you don't want to peak too early. I think when that peak comes, it's not just going to be on the federal level. It's going to be on the state level, because here's a talking point for the states. After Roe v. Wade got canceled, women's rights can only occur in the state house, not the federal government. And that's a big call to action. So I think, and that's why I said the Republicans laid the field out for a smart Democratic wipeout. If our consultants, if we forget about giving money to the $10,000 consultant and give it to the $1,000 grassroots guys. So that's it. Anyway, thank you for calling in, John. I got to go to the video.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a great day. All right, folks, this video here, I want you to listen to it. Yesterday, this guy that called in, he is on our 3:00 show every single day. He's there. He's commenting. He's not a troll. He's a good guy. He comments all that good stuff. But yesterday, talking to him when he called in and just asking a few questions. And by the way, I did make a mistake. He said, Trump has thousands of employees. And, when he said thousands of employees, I'm implying, maybe 100,000 employees. So I said, no, Trump doesn't have thousands of employees. But when I re-listened to it, it sounds like because I said it, it sounded like I was saying Trump doesn't have 1,000 employees. He have less than 1,000. Well, the caller was absolutely right when he said Trump has thousands of employees. And I'll correct that on the 3:00 show. But I want you to listen to this conversation that I had with him. It's a short one, but it says a lot. Check this out, then we'll take it on the other side. And then I want you to call in about it, 713-526-5738. Hey, Mike Cisak, what's up?
Hey, okay. So basically the ruling that was done by SCOTUS, okay, just to kind of simplify it as much as possible. They pointed to the Section 5, okay, which basically says that Congress shall set up the way to enforce the rest of this amendment.
My question to you, or not, did Donald Trump have anything to do with the insurrection in Washington, D.C. as far as you're concerned, Mr. Cisak?
No.
Okay, good. That's all I need to hear from you. But let me just tell you what concerns me about our little brief discussion here. We'll talk about this another day. The fact that you don't think the president has done anything to incite an insurrection says much. And also that you support that. Oh, one other thing. Do you think the guy's a rapist or not?
He's not.
Okay. Do you think the guy actually defrauded people with the university that he created or not?
No.
Okay. Do you think the guy actually stiffed a whole lot of people who worked for him at his hotels or not?
No.
Okay. Do you think the guy used monies that were in charity money that he claimed from a 501c3 and used it for personal use? Do you think he did that or not?
Trump did not. Others did.
Okay, good.
That's
so Trump.
Case.
Okay, so in other words, all these bad things that occurred under corporations that he created, he was completely oblivious to all of this. Somebody else did it, right?
Well, in most big corporations,
Trump has no big corporation. His corporation is like a mom and pop store with a lot of real estate. All his companies are on paper and very, very small. One other thing, do you believe the Georgia phone calls or not? Oh, by the way, those hotels are not his. Remember, those hotels are licensed to his name, but it's managed by others of companies that he doesn't own. You know that, right? You know, all those Trump hotels are just licensed. You know, all those Trump hotels are his name being licensed, right?
Some are.
Most are.
He still owns several others.
Very few. Most of these hotels are licensed, not owned. You can look that up as well, Mike. But the other thing
I know about those.
Okay, now the other thing that I'd like to ask you though is, do you believe the phone call that he made in Georgia where he said, "Find me X amount of votes"? Is that his voice for real?
That's not what he said.
Okay. Do you believe the phone call that came across?
I mean, if you want to lie about something, you can lie about that part.
Okay.
I mean,
all right, Mike. I got to go to the Mike. I got to go to the videos. But I think for all the people that are listening to our show right now, you have given them a good example as to why there is a sect of MAGAs that we are not going to be able to reach. But many who are listening to this interaction between me and you, between you and me, they're going to say, "Oh my God." So you are going to help a lot of people. But let's talk another day, Mike, because I must get to the videos. Okay. Let's talk later.
All right.
We spend a lot of time. All right. Now that was, look, I try to, whenever I'm talking to everybody, I try my best to keep my composure. But what do you say when a lot of the evidence is right out there? I mean, it's not, that you can see, and then you have that sort of a response, right? What do you say? But I think, like I said, he's probably gone too far in the short term. In the long term, he's probably deprogrammable. But in the short term, he's gone. But there are many people who would listen to that and say, "Oh my God, look at how that sounds." And even if they would see the cultish thoughts or the cultish way that he is and act accordingly. Anyway, folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. I'd love to hear from you before I go to the other video. 713-526-5738. I should chime in. Howard, do you want to chime in on that at all, or?
Well, no, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, when you talk about the blind following of Donald Trump, it's more prevalent in urban or rural areas. Because I have a place on Lake Livingston that I go to on weekends, and these huge Trump flags on these golf carts, and these people I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. I don't know why it's there. How did this man program these people by remote control? I was reading an article just the other day about how MAGA has changed America. Mostly, it's divided America.
Right.
I have a sweetheart up in Livingston that I see. She and her sister have not spoken in years because her sister truly believed that the election was stolen and all this right-wing stuff. And she's fairly moderate to left-wing. And we have some very interesting conversations. But even if I disagree with her, and I do sometimes, we still respect each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that the MAGA has taken away. Mm-hmm. It's either you're all in or you're against me. That's just crazy. I don't understand the whole separation. It's divide and conquer is what it is.
Right.
Divide and conquer. This is as old as the world itself. This is as old as civilization. This time it's Trump. Last time it was Hitler or Stalin. It's the same thing. It's playing out again and again and again because they prey on your weaknesses. They prey on your fears. Oh, this group of people over here, they're horrible people. They're going to come in and kill you in the middle of the night. What's the likelihood of that, really? Honestly, stop and think for a minute. Is this true or is this not true? Go ahead.
Howard, the thing about it is we have now with all the technology we have, if we choose to do it, we have the means to prevent that. You said, which is absolutely right, that this has been happening from the time that man had a society, right? That you control people. That's been happening forever. But we have the means now where we can actually talk, and which I think is a good one. But the mayor seems to be online the mayor of
let's get to the
Politics
mayor.
Done Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Politics Done Right. Let's come in, Johnny.
Mayor McCheese might take some cheese off his burger by the end of today. Might be going plain.
Talk to me, Johnny.
No pickles, no onion, just meat and bun. That's why I'm feeling very minimalist. So to answer, well, first, before I answer Captain Reynolds' rap question just now, his rhetorical question, I've got to say something about that guy that you say calls you every 3:00 show.
Right.
What was it, John?
No, that's not John. That's a caller from. He's in Missouri. He's a farmer in Missouri.
He's a former what?
He's a farmer. Farm the land. He farms the land. You know my accent. He farms the land in
farmer.
Missouri. He's a farmer.
He was a former legislator. I was going to say.
No. And he raises. I think it's cattle that he raises as well. Yeah.
Okay, better he raise meat than do something else. No teaching children, no handling guns. Anyway, that guy, that 3:00 guy, I got a question for you, Egberto.
Yes, sir.
Here it is. You said in the lead up to that guy, you said he's a good guy. How do you come up with the fact that he's a good guy when to all your questions he said no? How does that make him a good guy? Please help me.
Let me help you there, okay? I deal with hundreds and actually thousands of people, right? And there are people that are inherently they want to harm people, right? And then there are people, not that they want to harm people, but they don't really have that good feeling towards other human beings, right? And then there are others that are just completely ill-informed. It's not because, let me tell you, this guy also, in some of the things that he put in the chat, if it weren't me, are just outright racist, but he's really regurgitating a lot of what he's learned, how he was reared, that kind of a stuff, right? If I want to deal with somebody, Johnny, right? If I want to, I have to add all those things up, right? If I really believe the things, if I really believe that race is a stupid thing, I'm going to tell you where I'm going. Bear with me a second. If I really believe race is a stupid thing, if I really believe we are all inherently the same, and I'm talking we all have different, some people can jump higher, some people can do different theologies. So we have all different specialities that all of us will have. But basically, as human beings, we're all the same in the way we feel, all that good stuff. If I really believe that, and I have to understand that externalities is what create this kind of a guy, all the kind of folk, externalities, how we were brought up. And if I allow the way I interact with you or Mike or Howard, etc., to be just on face value, what Howard tells me, what you tell me, what Mike tells me, then I have allowed the people who have programmed each one of us to win. And that is how this stuff works. So I have to inherently first make figure out, is this a good person or not? Can a racist be a good person? Actually, and all my black people and Latino and people of color are going to shoot me now. But actually, yes. Okay. And how do I know? Well, a lot of I would tell them to their face sometimes. I'll say, a lot of my friends are racist. Okay. But it's not because they're inherently racist. It's because of all the stuff they've learned before anything else. So in having that conversation with these folks, in having them see, hey, you know what? We put on our pants just the same way like you do. We love our kids just the same way you do, or whatever. You would not imagine how it actually transforms people. And what I'm saying is I have actually seen folks transformed. But you have to have the patience to do it. Not everybody does, and I'm not asking everybody to do that. But for those who have the patience to do it, I'm saying, do it. And that's why I say, Johnny, the guy's a good guy. I've spoken, he'll call, and sometimes you're like, Egberto, I'm sorry for XYZ. or actually, but again, it's kind of deprogramming slowly how you've been raised. And then it's tough because now you have that MAGA machine that's there constantly reinforcing all the bad stuff. But anyway, Johnny, that's why I said that. I spoke too much. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right, I think you're answering my question. Just so I'm clear before I say the next thing, you are saying, in your opinion, he is a racist. He talks racist. He has post-racist stuff in the past. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have to divide these people because, for example, my dad, one day when I was maybe in first or second year of high school, he was talking to one of my uncles in the kitchen. And I heard him speaking in Italian, and I remembered enough Italian at that time to know that he was not speaking of a specific black person. He was speaking broadly about black people in a very derogatory way. And I've never heard him talk that way before. And I felt like all of a sudden he was a stranger. I felt like I didn't know him. And I was so deeply saddened. And eventually that turned into anger. But in his defense, I would say that my dad would not have showed up with a tiki torch and saying, we're very fine people and the Jews have to go. So let me ask you now, this guy, this 3 o'clock troll of yours, would he be the type of person that would drop his cattle prod and pick up a tiki torch?
I don't think so. I don't know him personally, but I don't think so. And like, let's go to your father, though, okay? Because, that is your father. Was your father good to you? Did you have a good father? Did you have a good father? As far as you're concerned?
Up until that point, yeah.
Okay.
And even after that, I would say, yeah, I'll have to say that, yes. He tried.
Okay, good. And the reason I say that, right, is why do you think he thought the way he thought about black people?
Oh, that's going to require another conversation that we don't have time for. My time's running out.
The reason I asked, sometime we need to just have a racial kind of a show, right? Because what I want to say there, right, is the handling of that is, it is the questioning of how we got there, right? And I'm talking about face-to-face questioning of how we got there, because it's amazing. I always use as an excuse that I was a homophobe, and now I'm the biggest gay rights guys. But I look at myself as somebody who was able to change my prejudices, and it's sexism. Change my prejudices, right? Because I was reared in a country where those things existed. And that is where I think we have to go. But John, and now I'm starting to get calls. So, hey, as usual, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so quickly answer Captain Reynolds' question about how this happens. The long story short is it's the media. It's the monopolized media that we have. Garbage in, garbage out.
Amen.
And you said a bunch of things earlier that would answer Captain Reynolds' question. That's what it comes down to. It's exposure. Just like you said, growing up in Panama, it's exposure in media. And that's what we have to solve too. We have so much work to do. God damn it. Okay,
but you know what? Again, we have to be willing to do it. Johnny, thank you for calling, Mr. Mayor. Let's go to Joni. Come on in, Joni, and then I'll have Harry and Augie. Joni, come on in.
Good morning, Egberto.
How are you doing this morning?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm doing all right. So I heard you mention the word prejudice. So as far as I can understand it, there is a slight difference. It's a Venn diagram, of course. There's an overlap, but prejudice. We all have prejudices. We all come to. It's like a 2-year-old seeing a dog and thinking every 4-legged thing is a dog without experience of anything else until he learns the difference between things. So prejudice and racist actively seeks to hurt or, they demonize the other. They work to make sure that their ways are and their people and their neighborhoods are taken care of at the expense of others, whereas someone who has prejudices that haven't been parsed out yet are ignorant. And I remember in the Christmas Story, where Scrooge was faced with the ghost of Christmas Present, and the ghost of Christmas Present had the little bedraggled boy and the little bedraggled girl that he showed to Scrooge, and he said, the little girl is ignorance, and the little boy is want. The little girl is want, and the little boy is ignorance. Beware them both, but beware the boy the most. So it's ignorance that causes the most damage. So anyway, that's just all I have to say.
Well, let me just say one thing, because you opened the door for me to say this, and then if you have a couple of seconds to hear this one out. In the intelligentsia out there, people like to make this big distinction between prejudice and racist, and it's even got to the extent where folks would say, like, people of color can't be racist because they don't have the power, etc., etc., etc. To which I always tell them, ask the powerful like Oprah or etc. whether that is true or not. Now, I get into trouble. I get into trouble because I don't try to get too selective I don't try to get too academic in defining racism, right? In other words, I don't try to say, well, black people can't be racist or people of color can't be racist. If you can look at another person and hate them just for characteristics, I think that's how most people think. Most people don't go through that other level of indirection in thinking. And that's where I think we've opened the door for others to come in and say, you see, all the complication, you have to you have to think this before that. No, it's either, in my opinion, again, it's either you are somebody who we could forget about the word prejudice because about the word racist. Let's just call it prejudice for now. If you don't like somebody or you hate somebody just for a characteristic, that is wrong, and that is what you need to work on. And while there are academics who would put all these distinctions, etc., I don't know if the average person who hates another person for some physicality or otherwise go through that kind of methodology in their heads. They just act, in my opinion.
It comes from ignorance and fear. Ignorance and fear of the unknown, and ignorance, not having had experiences or learned about somebody else's perspectives. But I appreciate you again. I'm going to have to hang up.
Thank you, Joni. Have a great one, and thank you for calling in, sis. Take care. All right, let's go to Harry. Come on in, Harry. How you doing, my brother?
Amaro, Professor Egberto Willis, teaching us again as usual. Well, I just think that caller Mike, I'll pray for caller Mike, your 3 o'clock caller. He's living on a different planet. He's in denial. And what Joni just said there and what Johnny said there about the media, there's gaslighting, there's propaganda, racism and all that stuff is taught. And it's like Empire Strikes Back when Yoda was teaching Luke the ways of the Force. You must unlearn what you have learned. And racism can be unlearned. And then, like you said, Egberto, he can be a good person, but you have to put that gaslighting, that propaganda stuff aside and unlearn what you have learned so you won't be a racist. Those comments, when you ask them those questions about, I'm looking for 11,780 votes, one more than my opponent, I guess that was an imposter. I guess that wasn't Donald Trump. Jean Carroll, the sexual assault that he did on her. I guess he's not a misogynist. I guess what Amy Goodman on Democracy Now! When Trump was saying that you can do anything, when Amy repeated it and said, can do anything. I guess that was just an imposter. You're not going to have a country if you don't go down there and stop the steal. I guess that was an imposter on January 6th. So, Mike, you're living in a different planet. You're in denial. I'm going to pray for you that you see Donald Trump for what he is, what Mitt Romney was saying, which is why I want you to play that Mitt Romney speech about, here's what I know. Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. His promises are as worthless as a degree from Trump University or a $7 bill. I guess all those things, I guess all these people that are saying that say these things about Trump are lying. I guess they are, Mike. You said Mike is a farmer.
You've been asking for that video for a long time. I need to. Sorry about that. I need to write this down. You've been asking for the Romney video for a long time, and I haven't gotten it.
Oh, yeah. Because people need this. Because I know what you said. When I talked about it to you a few weeks ago, you said, well, the conservatives know what Trump is, but there are people out there who are ignorant, like Joni said, and they have forgotten it. People have a short memory, and when you if they listen to that Romney video, that speech, I think it's 15 minutes long or something, but he talks about Donald Trump and what he is, and people can be enlightened and be educated, because maybe there are people who didn't hear that speech, or there are people who did hear it in the past and are just in denial. They need to be educated.
Absolutely.
My poor friend in Florida, who's thinking Trump is the best for this country, and I keep telling him, listen to that Mitt Romney speech. So
okay, Harry, I just wrote it down on my thing here. I'm going to go look for it and cut it up. I can't do 15 minutes, but probably can do 3 minutes of it. I'll cut up for you. Okay. But look here, brother, I need to go to Augie because people are piling up, and I want to make sure and give everybody a chance. I've
even asked Steve Hunter to play it on UTalk as well. The more people get in the head with that, they'll understand who Donald Trump, the grifter, the con man, really is.
Thank you, Harry. Let's go to Augie. Come on in, Augie.
Hey, well, like that caller at 3:00, I got friends like that too. Mm-hmm. But we can talk and still be friends.
Yeah.
And you can't return hate with hate. It just makes that a continue.
You nailed it.
Hate, prejudice, bigotry all my life, and still do every once in a while, I feel like. But I try not to let that bother me. I'll just state the facts when I hear something wrong. But I have hope. Last week, I went and voted early. I couldn't believe how many people Biden has running against him. It's a screen full of names.
I know. I saw it too.
And then it goes to the second screen. But anyway, I'm glad I voted. And I'm glad I listened to your show about some of these candidates. That's why but anyway, nobody's born with hate and prejudice, like Harry said. You have to learn it. And I faced it. I've been to Livingston and I've been to Cleveland, and I know about that. The people out there in the country, and I have relatives like that. One sister, she hopes she doesn't see her other sister again because they think differently. But there is hope if we keep confronting them with facts and truth. And I've been talking to some Republican friends that voted for Trump previously. So, but then they said they're not going to vote for him this time. And I've heard more of them say that. So that gives me hope.
Thank you very much, Augie. I'm filling up. So I appreciate you calling. And again, thank you for all your support for Politics and Right at KPFT, brother. Let's go to Steve. Come on in, Steve.
I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to guarantee that if you do send that Romney tape to Steve Hunter, I think he'll probably play it. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. I'm going to reach out to him for a second. Steve?
Yeah.
That's his real voice.
Yeah, what do you want?
Would you play this Romney thing that Egberto is doing?
Don't leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep.
Okay. See, that's who you get this time of the morning, Steve Hunter. Nothing. I tell you, nothing. Hey, buddy, I wanted to stop for a second. And what are you laughing at?
That was a good one, man. That's all I'm going to say.
What are you talking about? Anyway, so here's the thing. I was listening to you this morning, which I do a lot. And something just struck me again. I want to thank you for being who you are, not what you do, my friend. But there's so much that's human about you and what you say, who you reveal yourself to be, the authenticity of you, the risk you take, that it's such a privilege to have you on this place, my friend. Just want to say that. That's all.
Well,
by the way,
I'm
on the street. I'm taking a bus because yesterday somebody T-boned my car by running a red light and by my poor little big one. So I'm taking buses this morning, and I'm about to climb on right now to get to the station. We'll talk to you later on this morning.
Well, wait, hold up, folks. That is Steve Hunter from UTalk. Don't forget, after Amy Goodman, that comes right after this show, he's on at 8:00. And I think he just called here to give me hell. But, love the guy.
My car got destroyed yesterday, and he told me to just come on and ask you.
All right, bro. Thank you, man. You drive safely into KPFT, brother. Have a good one.
I will do it, my friend. I'll be on the air at 8 o'clock, and we'll be talking about
buddy.
you too. Give you another plug. Take care.
All right, let's go to brother Bard. Come on in, Bard. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to say that the polls open in 10 minutes and give a recommendation on who to vote for in District 18. Vote for Amanda Edwards. It's time to get Sheila Jackson Lee out of there. She's corrupt. She's been there 30 years. It's time for her to go. And also vote yes on all the propositions.
That it, Brian? Thank you very much for calling, and thank you for doing your civic duty. That's your opinion, and hey, this platform belongs to us all. Thank you, my brother. Anything else you want to say real quick before I go to Brian? Oh, he's off already. All right, Brian, come on in. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine. You didn't quite let me get finished all my numbers yesterday. You know that there are 800,000 police officers in the United States?
I didn't know the number, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, that's Department of Justice came out with a report. There's right at 51,000 federal inmates that are illegal aliens. Cost the United States about $267 million per year to house those illegal aliens that have created federal crimes, not state and local crimes. Those are federal crimes. So,
go ahead. Brian, are you there?
Come on.
Oh, okay. I am not going to argue the numbers because I just trust you. I trust that the numbers that you're giving me came from a reputable source. So, I mean, okay, I don't know where we're going with it, but okay. All I'm telling you, Brian, is this, and then I got to jump to Lane, but I want to say this, Brian. All those numbers are fine. Like I said, I trust that your numbers came from somewhere accurate, but do remember that still undocumented and immigrant population commit a lot less crimes than our born population. That's just a statement of fact. In the same place that you got those numbers, I imagine you should be able to get these as well. So look that up and call me back. But Brian, as usual, you got your platform. Real quick.
9-0. Even Ketanji Brown voted with Trump. 9-0.
So aren't you happy?
No, law has prevailed.
Okay, so you're happy.
Law has prevailed.
Okay, good. We'll talk later.
I'm not happy or angry.
All right, Brian, we'll talk, my brother. Okay, take care. I'll hear you tomorrow, I'm sure. So thank you, brother. Peace. Lane, come on in.
Good morning, Egberto. Long time no see. I just wanted to, get on one little political punch here since it's Super Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Wait. Is this Lane, the former head of the Democratic Party here in Harris County?
No, I'm a different Lane.
Okay, let's go. All right, go ahead.
So, I'm a big fan of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, the
there
squad.
You go.
And, folks here in Houston and Fort Bend, District 7, have a chance today on Super Tuesday to help get somebody on the ballot that's a real progressive, Pervez Agwan, and a primary against Lizzie Fletcher. Pervez just stands out head and shoulders above. He'll be, a Texas proud member of the squad in Washington, D.C., if we can get him on the ballot. And today's the day. Please vote for Pervez Agwan.
Well, thank you very much. For any other things you want to say, Lane, beforehand? I just recognize your voice, so sorry about that. Go ahead, brother.
No, that's it. I just woke up extra early this morning so I could, hear your dulcet tones on the radio.
Well, you know what? I am glad for once you got to hell up to listen to Politics Done Right, brother. You know what I mean? Because your voice is an important voice in this space.
Well, and same to you, man. I mean, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where dialectic happens in Pacifica. Not a lot of two-way radio. And you and Steve Hunter, y'all are holding down the fort, really moving the ball down the field. Because people tend to change their minds when there's a dialectic, not when it's just like one-way radio and people are just saying stuff in one ear.
And that's what we do, brother. That is what we do. Hey, Lane, thank you so kindly, and we'll talk. Hope to see you sometime in the flesh. All right, take care, buddy. All right, let's. It looks like we're going to get one more caller in, but it's going to only have like 45 seconds. I think you can just let them flow 45 seconds or so to speak because we are running out of time. But I'd like to give everybody. Okay, caller, how are you doing? Caller? You're on. Yeah, caller, you're on.
Say my name. Yeah, Pervez Agwan is a damn anti-Semite. I don't know why anybody with a decency would vote for him. That's all. Thank you.
Every platform for everybody. Thank you, Lee. Thank you very much for your comments. Okay. All right, folks, got to jump to the studio to Howard.
Folks, today is voting day. Go and use your right. And if you don't believe that your vote counts, first of all, it does. Second of all, there are people in our history that have died for your right to vote. They didn't get to live their lives because they were so strongly advocating for voting that they gave their lives for it. Honor them. If you don't think your vote counts, at least honor the people who gave you the right to vote, to fight for the vote, who registered for the vote. The League of Women Voters. I mean, women didn't even have a vote in the early part of the last century. So honor those people who died for your right to vote. And that's all I got to say. Jack, what you got?
Racism is a tool the autocrats use to divide and conquer you. They keep you hating while they pick your pocket.
That's right. Nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. Anyway, folks, look, thank you so kindly, all our listeners, all our callers, Howard, Jack, love you guys. Look, there are many other subjects we wanted to cover today, but I'd rather speak to you. Go to politicsandright.com/newsletter. All the videos and articles are right in the newsletter for you to just go to and click and see the videos that we spend the time to make. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics and Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.